Hello and welcome. So you are a French CEO or a French executive, you're one of the leaders of your company, and you're wondering how you're going to conquer your first foreign market, especially in the time delay, in the lead time that you've actually imposed upon yourselves. What are the tools? What are the states of mind? How are you going to do this? So one of the issues for some is, okay, so I need to get out there and I'm going to have to speak English to be able to do this. So we have English tools, we have English grammar, we have all these things, but what about the mindset? What about that? And I know this is a really interesting subject, and I recently came across an article from Lepoint in which it compares the extreme French attitude and an extreme American attitude. What's interesting is when we compare extremes, we get more of an idea about the differences that are there. So I'd like to mention some of the points that were said in this article, and mostly I would like to see and show you and demonstrate how it could potentially affect your getting your first foreign market on 3 different levels. The first level being the vision of the world, of making a plan. How are we going to do this? The second being the point that I need to go and socialize. I'm going to have to meet people and form relationships. And the third point essentially is it's me that's going to have to do that. So out there in the world, conquering the first foreign market, the socializing part of meeting all these people, and me essentially being the one that's going to do it. The starting point I'd like to make right now is what it would seem that the French culture says to many people in terms of business and in terms of going out there into the world. The CDI, the existence of that, syndicates, the culture, what do we learn in schools? And this is going to be shocking, be careful. The idea is don't take risks, don't make mistakes, and beware of change. Resist change, don't change. Really? Can we actually justify that? Well, this article is very interesting, and I'm going to make a few points just so you can see this comparison between the extreme French view. Now, when I say extreme French view, not all French people have this conservative type view, right? And not all Americans are like, hey man, how are you? Great to meet you. And not all French people are saying, don't talk to me like that. What is your position? Of course, but these are kind of archetypes that are going to help us make a comparison. So let's get going. So, as I said, the idea of don't take risks, don't make mistakes, and beware of change is more the extreme French side. So the Anglo-Saxon mindset, or the Americans, when they are thinking about a subject, when they're thinking about the world, they're thinking about what? What is our objective? What is our 1-year objective? That's it. Whereas the French mindset wants to know how. How am I going to get there? And when we're not thinking about just the objective, but how, and when we're mostly thinking about how, all of a sudden we can think about risks, mistakes, and all the changes that we're going to have to make. And the problem is if we don't really like change, this can be a problem, even from the beginning, when we're having our initial vision. So the Americans ask the question, will it give results? What is there to gain? Whereas the French mindset would ask more the question, what are the potential risks of this? Does that ring a bell? Or do you know people, or is this something that you feel that a lot of people say in your company and it frustrates you? So don't take risks, don't make mistakes, and beware of change. So on the first level, we've seen that it can limit you when you look out into the world. But on the second level, it's time to go out there, form relationships. It's time to get out there and be our best in front of people. And if we don't want to take any risks, and if we don't want to make mistakes, and if we consider that speaking, for example, is a risk, we're going to have issues. So the definition of risk is not necessarily the same in the American and even in the English and in the French culture. Speaking is not a risk, whereas in the French culture, speaking is a risk. I would like to quote something that a friend, and I'm going to quote it in French, by the way. Il vaut mieux se taire et passer pour un idiot que parler et ne laisser aucun doute à ce sujet. And when he told me this expression, I was like, wow, that's just so intense. And it really comes down to, you're going to be judged. And so if I had this expression in my culture and in my mind, I would think the same. And the only English expression that I can find that is equivalent is, it's better to say nothing than something stupid. And this is the equivalent, but don't say something stupid. I'm not saying you are stupid. Anyone can say something stupid. Whereas this expression, on laisse aucun doute que tu es un idiot, you are an idiot, really, just because of something you've said. Isn't that something interesting? It's really deeply seated in the culture. Don't take risks. Don't make mistakes and be aware of change. We're going to have issues if we want to just speak. And the last issue is beware of change, resist change. We need to change this fundamental mindset, right? And when it's time to change it, change takes a little effort. So if we are told not to change and that it's not good, this is going to be another issue, right? So as I said, Americans like risk. They don't have the same definition of risk. They're more interested in what you're saying and not how you are saying it. Remember, the French is how. How does it look? How is the form? Whereas the Americans is the substance. What is the person saying? You will notice this if you go into the States. Except if we're functioning, if our software is fundamentally functioning on a different level, we're going to have issues. The French, in comparison to the Americans, are quite risk adverse. And one example of this is entrepreneurship is the essence of what drives action, ideas in the States, in the US. Whereas in France, we are conforming to rules, hierarchy, titles, positions. This may make you feel like I have legitimacy problems. What is the actual issue? I don't know. I just know I don't feel legitimate. And remember that Americans are there and they want to know, is your solution going to work? Can they test it at a reasonable price? If it works, they're going to want to work with you. They don't care about titles and positions, because instead of don't take risks is take calculated risks. Don't make mistakes is if you make a mistake in the States, you learn from it, but they're more concentrated on what they can gain. And they embrace change. Remember that. And I know I've given two extreme cases, of the States, but even if it's in England, in Europe, attitudes can vary. However, the idea is so much more open. You can speak. You can move forward today to your international market, to conquering your international market. And remember, you are the person that's doing it. So I'm saying, take risks. Take calculated mistakes. Learn from errors and embrace change. Now, if you found this video interesting, and if this somehow has made you think about mindset and how mindset is fundamentally important, not just in speaking English, but in your initial vision when you're thinking about what your company wants to do, the plan that you're forming, your involvement, the relationships you're going to form, and what you're going to have to do and the ways that you're going to have to change and adapt. If this has in any way spoken to you, if it has made you think, reach out to me. Let's talk about that. Otherwise, you can look on my profile. There's some more interesting information so you can know more about what my mission is. And what my fundamental mission is to help the French talent get out there and conquer international markets. So what we learned in school, concentrate on excellence only is not all bad. When you're concentrating on excellence, you end up with products, French solutions, French systems that are the best, in my opinion, in the world, thanks to the schooling system. The next step is a shift of mindset and go get your international market. I'm looking forward to hearing from you and speaking to you very soon. Goodbye.